Poverty is a state of mind. Napoleon Hill. If you're still broke, you must read Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. Fortune-telling welcomes you all. Many people today believe that the chicken soup of the soul or inspirational quotes that are circulating online are more talk than reality. You read it and nothing will change. Those repetitive lines are easy to create sympathy from the disadvantaged. For example, the saying failure is the mother of success. Most people do not think deeply about the meaning behind it. They simply seek a little comfort for their soul, to the point that their subconscious mind actually starts to want to find failure. Some people even lump all these things together and call them success studies. If my academic success was understood that way, I would feel sick too. But there was one book that helped me escape the poor majority. When you see it, you will probably be as surprised as I was. Because not only America's top billionaires, like oil king Rockefeller, Henry Ford, Edison sales god, Joe Girard, but also 2 U.S. presidents, were loyal readers of this book. Why so? Do you know what the most valuable assets and wealth that the world's leaders own are? That is the idea. And the book is called Think and Rich. I am not exaggerating when I say that living in this world. You may not read any book, but you must read this book. Why? Because humans have only 2 problems. One is to survive. The other is to reproduce. But in today's capitalist society, if you want to do both of those things, well, you need money. So where does the money come from? The answer is, you have to ask people who have actually made money. But when you ask them, will they share the whole secret with you? Suppose you asked 500 billionaires. Would their combined answers be reliable? The author of the book Napoleon Hill was originally just a poor reporter. One day he went to interview Steel King Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie asked him, "Would you be willing to work for me? I will introduce you to all the richest, most powerful and famous people in the world. Go, interview them and write a book recording the things they have in common." When the number of successful people is large enough, those similarities are the law of success. This will be a great work, because you can help people born in poverty like you to know how to become rich. But the condition is no salary. Normally speaking, anyone who hears this would think they're being scammed, right? Yet Napoleon Hill not only agreed, but worked for 30 years. He did what all the other poor people could not do, working without money. That's why his book has become the root of academic success, helping countless poor children achieve financial freedom, including me, who used to be penniless. When I read this book, I felt the whole world was at my feet. And trust me, you will never learn all the content in this book, even if you read it 100 times. Each time you read it, you will have new enlightenment. It's like a secret martial art. As your inner strength deepens and your knowledge and vision expand, you will discover that all the successful ways to get rich in the world can be drawn from this book. The 10,000 changes are not strange. But if you are truly enlightened, reading it once is enough. If you watch this video till the end, I believe I can help you lower the threshold of financial freedom. This channel specializes in sharing wealth-building ideas for entrepreneurs, investors and wealthy people. If you don't want to miss such information, you can subscribe to my free channel, then turn on the notification bell. First of all, what I'm about to say may upset a lot of people's values. But it's the most basic thing. Hate poverty. Love wealth. You must be patient to listen to build a solid foundation. We are forever opposed to the poor, only respecting and supporting the rich. Actually, I can only say I love the rich and not hate the poor, for fear of offending many people. But do you realize that 97% of people in this world like and sympathize with the weak but hate the strong? That's why it's so funny. Many people complain about poverty all day long and then wake up early in the morning and come home late at night to earn money. But cursed his boss behind his back. They lost money in stock investments and immediately cursed those who plucked their feathers. They feel frustrated and then go to forums to gather with other disadvantaged people to warm each other's spirits. So I ask, are such people capable of becoming bosses? Can you become a mineral god? The saddest thing is that in their hearts they really want to be rich. But they turn around and curse those rich people. How can you become someone? You despise yourself. So the first thing we need to do is admire people who are better than us. People who have achieved results. Because luck always turns. One day you get rich. You will also become part of the rich group. You will need to step into their world and you will want their approval, right? So today, would you like to start by appreciating and respecting them? Want to support really useful knowledge? For example, like this video? I'm not kidding. If you like my videos, YouTube will suggest more videos like this that can actually help you. This means that if you love rich people, the universe will naturally bring rich people to your side. But that love cannot be just said with the mouth. It must come from the bottom of the heart. Sometimes I see people praising me on the surface, but inside I feel all kinds of emotions like jealousy, envy and resentment. There is no hiding it. For example, today I took my parents to buy a house. Many people will look at me with contempt. They think that at this age, if he can buy a house, then my father must be rich. I just know the right place to reincarnate. They said there was nothing terrible. The 3 generations of wealth must decline. Rich people's children will go bankrupt after 3 generations. But actually I am not a rich second generation. Every penny I earn is from licking my wounds and getting up. But they don't know that. So they become prejudiced and spend their whole lives watching other people buy houses. Actually, knowing the right place to reincarnate is also a skill. If you can't reincarnate, then the problem is you, right? And what I really want to say is that the rich second generation that you see going bankrupt on TV or in the newspapers are actually only a few. Personally, the second generation officials and rich second generation people I know are all so diligent that I feel like my intelligence is far inferior to theirs. For example, the person I admire the most is Ho Do Kwon, the son of the Macau casino king. In theory, he doesn't need to lift a finger. You can work your whole life and still not earn as much as he earns while sleeping. His income in 1 second can be equal to your whole month's salary. Yet he won the British Mathematical Olympiad gold medal for 5 consecutive years and was the youngest person in history to graduate with a master's degree in finance from MIT. He knows how to play the piano and guitar and is fluent in the language of finance. I want to ask you, if your father is the king of casinos, can you be as excellent as him? Personally, I definitely don't, because you don't even have money yet and you don't try. When you have money, will you still try, right? So why do people keep trying? Because from a young age they received a different education than we do. Their teachers teach them to be bosses, while our schools only train us to be employees. So why should we make friends with rich second-generation people? Because they were born holding the golden key in their hands. They are very lucky, and when you approach lucky people, you will also attract their lucky energy. You will also gradually become luckier. It's simple. When I negotiate business with the rich second generation, the things they say, their understanding of commerce, are things that I cannot learn from books. Because those are things their fathers taught them. It is the experience that their father has accumulated over his entire life. Like today, you play chess. You are a newbie. But if you play with a master for a month, unless you have intellectual problems, otherwise you will become a master. Because you have learned the whole thinking of that person. If you don't have any rich people around you right now, you can start by going to school or reading books, learning their strategies, imitating the way they think. From a very early age, I understood that I had to be grateful to rich people from the heart. Because they set real examples of success, so that I could know that the things I dreamed of could really come true. Because many people have done it. It's called loving rich people. So why should we hate poor people? Because poor people are negative. They will always throw cold water on you. They just drag your energy down, pulling you down to their level. You know what I do. If the person I am communicating with is of lower value than me and he just says one negative word about my business methods, I automatically cut him out of my life. You may ask, why? Aren't you afraid that his opinion is right? Honestly, if he is really that good, why is he poorer than me, right? He felt that his way of doing things was not making money. So he turned to attack me. So do I have to become a poor person like him? The most hateful thing about people is not knowing their own limits. Sometimes I see someone cursing a famous star, saying that he had plastic surgery and then turning around and wanting to discuss it with me. So I cursed straight away. Because what right do you have to criticize people who have more money than you? You can also go for plastic surgery and see if you can earn the same income as them. Right? A person who does not place attention on himself is, by nature, that person is a useless person. But you can never get any value from such people because they themselves are inherently worthless people. To be clear, I have never had plastic surgery. What I mean is that I had nothing back then. Still in school, There are some people older than me who are professionals and earn much more than me. At that time I decided not to work for hire anymore. I told them I wanted to start a business and they laughed at me. Why? Because I am not as good at studying as them. They think they are so smart but still don't dare to start a business. So what right do people like me have to talk about it? And what was the result? They study so much. Aren't they ultimately serving me? They have to stay up late and wake up early to protect my interests. I just need to pay them a little bit of money and they will have to bow their heads before me. So everyone listened carefully from the appearance to look. It's true that they have a higher income than I did when I was a student. And much higher. But that doesn't mean their self-worth is higher than mine. Even though I had no money. Then I was already a rich man. Do you know why? Because every day I research and learn how to start a business. Invest and make money. The others only think every day about how to become a good employee. How to get promoted and get a raise. So, in essence, our asset values are completely different. In my mind, they have no right to compare with me. And such poor quality people could be your relatives or lovers. What can we do if we can't choose? I really like a Taiwanese author named Lin Qingxian. When he was only 8 years old, he decided that he would grow up to be a writer great. Then his father asked what a writer is. He replied that the person sitting at home writes the letter and sends it. Then someone will send the money to him. After hearing that, his father got angry, slapped him and scolded him. You idiot, how can anything in this world be that easy? If there really was, I would have done it already. Now it's your turn, so young but already dreaming big. Sometime later he told his father that he had another dream, which was to travel around the world. Looking at this story, it's true that Tan Huyan was a bit silly when he was young. He knew he would be beaten but still said it. So he said, when he was young, his academic performance was very poor, not even achieving average scores. This I can completely understand. Then he held a world map and imagined himself traveling to Egypt, and then was slapped again saying, I guarantee with my life that you will never get that far in this life. And the next sentence, when I read it, almost made me cry. He said, no one can guarantee my life. Not even my father. That quote can touch the heart of anyone who has ever started from scratch. Because we've all been there. No one can move us. Not even our own parents. Later, Mr. Lam Tan Huyan quickly became famous, earned money and left Taiwan. The first place he went to was Egypt. He stayed there for 3 months alone. When he truly realized that everything that happens to us has a reason and is for our own betterment. I am sure he would not have lived an ordinary life. We do not have the right to choose where we are born. Family, classmates, even teachers, can all throw cold water on you. But when you can't escape that situation, it's actually the universe's arrangement to train you. When I was young, I was a person who liked to live alone. At school, we were always forced to do random things and split into groups to complete tasks. At that time I thought I could do well by myself. Why should I share the credit with you? So I made a lot of people uncomfortable and was verbally bullied. But I soon realized that the school just wants to train you to be a useless person. You see, even though they have graduated and are working, they still want to find people to cooperate with. If they can't do anything alone, they say they need a team spirit. Those people were deceived. They chose to stay in the flock, living like sheep. As for me, I choose to be a lone wolf. I believe that true cooperation does not need to be learned. It comes naturally when you are competent. Two strong people together, each doing their part well, are better than hundreds of people gathered together not knowing what to do. So we just need to improve our own capacity to the limit. I was isolated as a child. But that's okay. What other people say is their business. But what does the definition and words of other people mean? That is something we can completely decide for ourselves. Every definition in this life can be set by myself. Those who used to laugh at me for being stupid when I started my business are now the clearest proof of real stupidity. In the book Think and Grow Rich, there is a story like this. There was a man who dreamed of digging for gold. He borrowed a lot of money to make this dream come true. But when he dug to a broken layer of earth and found no gold, he gave up. Then another boss bought his mine for a very cheap price. This person only dug another 30 centimeters on the existing bedrock and discovered a large amount of gold. Now, many inspirational quotes come from this story. For example, success may be just one step away. But in fact few people think about the deeper things. Why can we be so stupidly persistent with our dreams in the face of countless difficulties and contemptuous looks from the world? The book gave the answer. Because we people like that are all people with a strong desire for our dreams. When the desire is big enough, we will develop jealousy, have ambition, and thereby overcome all natural traits such as laziness, fear, self-doubt, in front of a strong desire. Those things are nothing. So where does that desire come from? I have studied many schools of esotericism, both Eastern and Western. In prayer rituals, there is always a step called wishing. I once personally researched famous temples and discovered that their methods of wishing were very similar. This book also talks about 6 extremely important steps that I actually followed step by step that year. Everyone can remember. The first step is to determine in our minds a specific amount of money that we desire to achieve. If you just say, "I want to have a lot of money," it will not work. You must clearly state the number specifically. For example, that year I wanted to make $1 million. Because at that time I thought $1 million was a lot. If I had that money, I wouldn't need to work anymore. My family can also live well. Step 2. Once I decided I wanted a million things, I had to ask myself how much I was willing to pay to get it. Because in this world there is no such thing as enjoying without working. At that time I made a commitment to myself that while all my classmates were having fun, I would continue to learn about how to make money, take different courses, read only finance-related books, and work part-time while starting a side business. Third, I set a specific time frame for achieving that financial goal. I decided that by the time I graduated from college, which was 2 years later, I had to earn $1 million. Step 4. I create a clear plan to achieve that goal and immediately start working on it, regardless of whether I am fully prepared or not. At that time, I was just learning about the wholesale industry. Simply put, it is just buying cheap and selling expensive. When customers order from me, they pay a deposit. I used that money to import goods from suppliers due to lack of industry knowledge. I used the money from my part-time job to find suppliers, invite them to eat and drink, and then join young business associations to get to know business owners who wanted to expand their retail business abroad. I supply products to them. When I got the first order, I wondered if I just repeat this, won't there be a second, a third order? That is my concrete plan. Step 5. Write down a clear, precise statement of your goal and the amount of money you want to achieve. In other words, summarize your entire thought, plan, and commitment into one sentence. My statement at that time was that I would never stop learning about startups and making money. By May, I will have made $1 million through the wholesale money-making model. Why write this sentence? Step 6. Read this statement aloud twice a day. Once before going to bed and once when waking up. As you read, you must imagine, feel, and believe that you already have that amount of money. These 6 steps may sound silly, even a little superstitious, but I actually followed them like a fool and I still use them today. Even though I only made $100 in the end, when I found out that my destiny had really changed because of that, I believed even more, because I really believed and had nothing to lose. In contrast, while others graduated with student debt, I had $100 in working capital. I later realized that those 6 steps actually have the same principle as the law of attraction that I shared before. Simply put, it is wish, then believe, then achieve. You must visualize yourself achieving that result and convince yourself that you have already achieved it. So how to convince yourself? It is you who must be grateful. Because when you are grateful, you feel happy. For specific details, everyone should definitely review my previous videos. You may be wondering where my 4th step statement, the goal affirmation, came from. Actually, when I attended men's classes and business societies in college, I found that all the wealthy people there were very proactive in promoting themselves and sharing their values. But before that I always thought that such an action was just a show of support. Felt that it was not good, even somewhat offensive. But after attending so many events, I realized that if I hated pitching, that was the biggest barrier to my delivery. Because other people get a lot of business opportunities. Thanks to it, I just eat alone at meetings, then go home and do nothing. So I turned down a lot of opportunities and possibilities without even knowing it. Later I learned that 90% of famous people in the world come from business. So from the previous video, I shared that no matter what job you are doing in daily life, we are all salespeople. We are business people. For example, if you are single and want to pursue the girl of your dreams, don't you also have to find ways to promote yourself? Or if you want your child to finish his homework before going out to play, you also have to think of a way to convince him to happily accept your idea, right? So, even if you don't learn anything after watching this video, I still hope you realize one thing: you're actually selling all the time. And whether you make money or not depends on how well you promote yourself. Even if you are new to selling air, you must know how to sell it and sell it at a high price. People put up sales pitches for a few basic reasons. For example, in the past you were tricked by others using all kinds of tricks to sell you products. To put it bluntly, you were deceived. Those experiences were not pleasant, but they are all in the past and do not help the present. If you rush to label an entire industry because of a small group of people and refuse to practice sales skills, you will only be able to survive with an office job. Actually, even if you want a promotion, you still have to know how to pitch in front of your boss. If you hate doing it while others can do it, you can only be trampled under their feet. Or maybe you have had experience selling to others but were rejected. Said something wrong that made you afraid. Did not like the feeling of failure or rejection. This is understandable, as it feels very uncomfortable. Therefore, most people choose to sit in front of a computer rather than face-to-face sales. If so, why don't you make money online? For example, if you like playing games, you can record your gameplay. Make into video tutorial. You just talk to the computer. Like I'm doing now. No need to show your face. Then you post the video on YouTube. As long as someone clicks to watch it, you will receive advertising money. When you have your audience in your hands, smart business people will proactively seek you out because you have their throats in your hands. They want to promote their brand. And the most effective advertising place today, the place with the most viewers, is YouTube. So you are promoting it. The important thing is that you almost don't need capital. And if you fail, you lose nothing. If you succeed, you can immediately quit your job and use your income to travel around the world. I think the most interesting part of Think and Grow Rich is the last chapter. The magical sixth sense and creative imagination are the paths that lead you into the temple of wisdom. This is really the top secret. When we encounter problems that we don't know how to solve, we can find real-life experts to advise us. But do you know how big a gamble author Napoleon Hill took? He invited Jesus, St. Paul, Galileo, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, Confucius and Buddha to be his advisors. The greatest men in the world were his advisors. He doesn't need to solve the problem himself. Just give it to them and everything will be solved. Sounds like the words of a madman, doesn't it? Because those people all passed away thousands of years ago. How could they be his advisors? It is through imagination in his subconscious. Whenever he encountered difficulties and could not make a decision, he imagined himself communicating with those great people. Why can he do this? Because the thoughts of those people are all recorded in books. Me too. I have read countless books, most of which I have forgotten. But there are about a dozen books that I think are really useful. I always put it on my office bookshelf and read it over and over again. You ask me if I can memorize the content of the book. I cannot, but the author's thoughts have certainly been imprinted in my subconscious. Every time I think about a problem, let's say, someone asks me out to dinner today, I'll think, if I were Li Ka-shing, would I choose to go to work or go out to dinner? Or when I'm discussing business with someone, I ask myself, if I were Donald Trump, what kind of position would I take when negotiating? Or when I'm pursuing a girl, I'll think if I were Sun Tzu in The Art of War. When should I choose to attack? What is the opponent's strength? Is it possible to conquer her without an army? I always put myself in the shoes of those great people to think that's how I trained in the beginning. But later I didn't even have to think about it anymore. My sixth sense and intuition will tell me what to do. Those intuitions are the result of training the subconscious mind in this way. I haven't read this book for a long time. If it weren't for this video, I probably wouldn't have read it again. In the book, the author writes, I used to have nothing. By accepting a job offer from Carnegie, I interviewed the world's richest people and discovered a secret. It was this secret that made me a billionaire. The book also says that if, while reading this book, you suddenly discover that secret, you don't need to read any further. Because maybe that secret appeared right from the beginning. Maybe it was in the first chapter, in the middle of the book or in the last chapter. But it will definitely appear in this book. Do you understand what this means? If you finish reading this book and it doesn't help your life in any way, then reading it is useless. But if you really seriously read this book, like you are having a dialogue with yourself through it, then suddenly you will discover that what you learn from the content of the book may not be important. But what you realize through this book is what is really important. It is called wisdom, not just knowledge. Knowledge is synthesized by others, while intelligence is your own thinking system, allowing you to generate countless knowledge yourself. Hope everyone can reach that realm too. Due to time constraints, I will end here today. I share free knowledge on how to become rich, entrepreneur, investor and achieve financial freedom. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell and share this video widely. I sincerely wish all of you who liked this video to achieve financial freedom soon. If you find just 1 or 2 helpful quotes in today's video that help you live a better life, I'll be satisfied.